I am 25F, he is 28 meters. We are deeply in love, but he married someone else. And now every second feels heavy. I didn't cry at his wedding. Everyone expected I would. His sister sent me a soft, pity-filled glance the whole time, like she was waiting for me to break. His mother held my hand so tightly as if she feared I'd collapse. Even the bride kept looking over her shoulder at me, the ghost in the back row. But I didn't cry, not because I wasn't hurting. God, no. I didn't cry because I felt nothing. Absolute, paralyzing nothing. A numbness so deep it made my bones feel hollow. People always think heartbreak burns. They imagine flames, tears, smashed glasses, screaming into pillows. They don't know that real heartbreak is cold. Real heartbreak freezes you. And as I watched the man I love, the only man I've ever truly loved, slide a ring onto another woman's finger, I felt myself slipping into a place so dark and silent that I wasn't sure I would ever come back. His name is Elias. My Elias. Even now, writing his name feels like reopening an old wound. We met 3 years ago. By accident, by fate, by bad luck or good luck, I still don't know. But from that very first day, something clicked inside me. Not chemistry, not an infatuation, recognition. It felt like I had finally found the person the universe had been trying to hand me my whole life. And he said he felt the same. He said it often. You're the person I didn't know I was looking for. You're the safest place I've ever found. I think I've loved you forever, even before I met you. So how does the man who says such things marry someone else? That answer, like everything else, hurts. Elias had been engaged before I came into his life. Engaged in that quiet, resigned way people are when they're following the path their parents want. He told me she was nice and polite and easy to be around, as if he was describing a well-behaved houseplant. He never said he loved her. He fell in love with me instead. We tried to do the right thing, or what we thought was right. He tried to break the engagement, but his family didn't take it well. There were tears, screaming, threats of disownement. His father had a heart scare in the middle of an argument, and suddenly Elias backed down. Just give me time, he said, his hands in my hair, his forehead pressed to mine. I'll fix it, I promise. I swear to you. But time ran out. Pressure broke him, and he married her. The night before the wedding, he came to me. I still remember the way he stood in my doorway. He looked like a man drowning. I can't leave them, he said. His voice was shredded, raw. I can't break everything. I don't know how. And then he said the words that shattered me. But I love you more than my own life. He held me. He kissed me like a man saying goodbye to the world. And then he walked away. After the wedding, I expected anger. I expected relief. I expected closure. Instead, every day since has felt like him breathing underwater. I wake up with the weight of him on my chest, his voice in my head, his arms still wrapped around me in my dreams. He texts sometimes, always short, always controlled. Are you okay? Did you sleep? I'm sorry. I don't answer. If I do, it'll break. But not answering hurts even more. I can't eat much. Can't sleep more than 2 hours at a time. I've tried distracting myself, work, friends, noise, but nothing fills the space he left. Nothing touches the ache. Every second feels heavy, like the air is made of wet sand pressing down on me. Some nights I sit in the dark and think, if he loved me, truly loved me, why wasn't I enough? And I know the truth. It had nothing to do with my worth and everything to do with his fear. But knowing doesn't stop the hurting. 3 weeks after the wedding, he showed up at my door again. Unannounced, late, breathless. I can't do it, he said, staring at me like I was oxygen. I can't live without you. I thought I could, but I can't. He said he would leave her. That he didn't care about the consequences anymore. That he was ready to choose me. And for a second, one small, stupid second, hope bloomed in my chest. But then I asked the question that mattered. Why now and not before? He didn't answer, because the truth was obvious. He only came when the silence got too loud, when the emptiness scared him more than the consequences. I realized then that I had spent 3 years building my life around a man who couldn't choose me, until he was falling apart. And that isn't love. Not the kind that lasts. Not the kind that heals. So I told him, I love you. I'll always love you, but I can't keep dying for you. He cried, actual. shaking tears, and I held him one last time. Then I let him go. Aftermath, it still hurts. Sometimes the weight still feels unbearable, but the air is a little lighter now, because loving someone shouldn't feel like drowning. And even though he was the love of my life, I finally realized I don't have to make him the end of my life. I'm learning to breathe again, slowly, painfully, but I am. The night after he came to my apartment, the night I told him I couldn't keep dying for him, I didn't sleep at all. Sleep felt like a betrayal, like closing my eyes would make me forget the shape of his tears on my shoulder, the way his breath shook when he whispered, "I'm losing myself without you." I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of the last 3 years like a movie set on loop. The laughter, the stolen nights, the promises whispered in the dark, the way he used to look at me like I was the one safe place he had left in a world that demanded too much from him. I thought about his wedding again, the way he avoided my eyes as he walked down the aisle. I thought it was guilt back then. Now I knew it was fear. Fear of choosing. Fear of losing his family. Fear of breaking tradition. Fear of being the villain in someone else's story. And somehow, I was the one who paid the price. 3 days after I blocked his number, it felt surgical, precise, cold, necessary. But when the confirmation popped up on my screen, my hands wouldn't stop shaking. I sat on the floor of my living room, the phone in my lap, and I cried harder than I had at any point before. Not because I regretted it, but because I knew this was the first real step toward letting go. Except letting go is a lot like drowning. You don't die all at once. You die in small, quiet moments. When you wake up and instinctively reach for your phone. When you hear a song that reminds you of that night you slow danced in his kitchen at 2 a.m. When you catch yourself laughing at a joke you know head low. When you see something in a store and think, he would like this, before remembering he no longer belongs to you. Letting go is a graveyard full of tiny deaths. I wasn't prepared for it. A week passed and then something strange began to happen. People around me noticed changes before I did. You look tired. You're quieter than usual. You're losing weight. Are you eating enough? Are you okay? I nodded. I lie. Every single time. I couldn't explain to them that my body had become a house where grief lived permanently. I couldn't tell them that food tasted like ash, or that the world looked foggy, as if someone had placed a thin layer of sadness over everything I saw. My best friend, Mira, eventually confronted me. We were sitting on her couch, a blanket thrown over our legs, watching a movie I barely registered. "You're fading," she whispered. She didn't look at me. She stared at the screen, but her voice trembled. "Please don't," she continued. "Don't let this break you." I wanted to tell her it already had, but admitting it felt like defeat, and I had already lost more than enough. The letter 9 days after I blocked him, I received a letter in my mailbox. A real letter, handwritten. My name spelled in his handwriting. The handwriting I had memorized from notes, from lists, from scribbles he left on napkins. My knees almost gave out. I took it inside, sat at my kitchen table, and stared at it for a full minute before opening it. His words hit me like a physical blow. "I'm not writing to ask you to take me back. I'm writing because I need you to know that you were the best part of my life, and losing you was the biggest mistake I've ever made." He wrote that he couldn't breathe in his own home, that being married to someone he didn't love felt like being trapped behind glass, watching life happen without him. He wrote that he saw me everywhere, in the way morning light hit the window, in the smell of coffee, in the sound of laughter on the street. "I'm not asking for anything. I just needed you to know that you were real. What we had was real, not a fantasy, not a mistake." Reading that should have comforted me. It didn't. It tore me open all over again. Because love that strong should never have ended with me alone at a kitchen table, shaking over a letter from a man who chose a future without me. I folded it carefully, placed it in a drawer, and cried until my head pounded. The breakpoint 2 weeks after I blocked him, I hit the lowest point. It happened at the most ordinary time, around 4 p.m., when I was leaving the grocery store. I saw a man who looked like him from behind. Same hair, same height, same way of tilting his head while talking on the phone. My heart stopped. My body moved before my brain processed anything. I ran toward him. I actually ran. When he turned around and it wasn't him, I broke. Right there, in the middle of the sidewalk, with grocery bags digging into my hands. I broke down sobbing. People stared. Someone asked if I needed help, but I couldn't answer, because in that moment, I understood something terrifying. I wasn't grieving him anymore. I was grieving the version of myself that existed when he loved me freely. I had lost myself somewhere in the middle of loving a man I could never have. The shift that night, I did something small but monumental. I cleaned my apartment. It sounds stupid, but grief makes messes, and healing starts with cleaning them. I picked up clothes, washed dishes, threw away old receipts, lit candles, opened windows. The air felt different, lighter, like I had cracked open a window in my own chest and let some of the darkness out. I made tea. I sat on my couch. I breathed. And for the first time since his wedding, the world didn't feel like a weight pressing down on me. Just a soft ache, a survivable one. A month passed, not quickly, slowly, painfully, like time itself had thickened into something heavy I had to push through every single day. But the days passed nonetheless, and with each one, the sharp edge of grief dulled just a little more. Some mornings I even woke up without remembering him first. Not always, not often, but sometimes, and sometimes was a start. The last call had happened on a Tuesday evening. I was washing dishes, music playing quietly in the background, when my phone lit up with an unfamiliar number. Normally I wouldn't have answered, but something inside me, maybe old instinct, maybe fate, told me to pick it up. His voice hit me like a wave. "Hi," he said quietly. My heart didn't shatter this time. It just tightened like a bruise being pressed. I didn't say his name. Didn't trust myself to. He took a shaky breath. "I think this is the last time he'll call." Silence filled the line, gentle but heavy. "I wanted you to hear it from me," he continued. "My wife knows everything. She found the letter I wrote you." My stomach clenched. "Elias, she asked me if I loved you," he said, and I told her the truth. I could hear him swallow. "She's leaving. She's taking some time away from me. Maybe forever. And I won't stop her. She deserves someone who loves her completely." I wasn't that man. I didn't know what to say. For the first time ever, he didn't fill the silence. "I also told her I wouldn't come back to you," he added. His voice softened, almost like a confession. "Because loving you wasn't the mistake, but losing myself in the process was." My throat tightened. "I hurt you," he whispered, "more than anyone ever should. And if I came back now, I'd only drag you deeper into the same pain I couldn't pull you out of before." My eyes burned, not from heartbreak this time, but from a strange, bittersweet clarity. "I'll love you," he said, "for the rest of my life. In quiet ways, in distant ways, but not in a way that ruins you." A tear slid down my cheek. This was his goodbye, his real one. "I hope," he said, voice trembling, "that someday you find a love that chooses you without hesitation. A love that doesn't break you just by existing." I wiped my cheeks. "I hope you find peace," I whispered. We stayed on the line a few seconds longer, listening to each other breathe, the final thread tying us together. And then he ended the call. After the goodbye, the silence afterward wasn't painful. It was quiet, still, like the moment right after a storm ends, when the world hasn't figured out how to move again. I sat on the floor of my living room, phone in hand, and let everything wash over me. The love, the loss, the years of holding on, the months of letting go. The truth that we had been something incredible, but not something meant to last. Not all soulmates are meant to stay. Some come to light you up, then leave so you can learn to shine on your own. And for the first time, I didn't feel broken. I felt released. 6 months later, I found myself smiling again. Not forced smiles, real ones. Small at first, then bigger. Like the part of me that had been frozen finally began to thaw. I started going out more, seeing friends, traveling, laughing. One day I went to my favorite cafe, the one where Elias and I used to sit for hours. I expected the old ache, the ghost of him sitting across from me. It never came. Instead, I felt gratitude, not pain. Gratitude that I had once loved that deeply. Gratitude that I survived losing it. As I stirred my coffee, something occurred to me. Simple, quiet, true. I didn't need him to move forward. I needed to let him go. And I had. The final scene one evening, as the sun was setting, I walked to the hill overlooking the city. The place where he once told me he felt like the world finally made sense when I was beside him. I sat on the grass and breathed in the warm air. The city lights blinked awake one by one, like tiny embers. I took out his letter, the one I kept all this time, and read it one last time. Then, with a calm heart, I folded it gently and let the wind take it. I didn't watch where it went. Didn't need to. Some stories don't end with a kiss. Some don't end with getting back together. Some end exactly like this. With peace, with closure, with a woman